Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 3. I can't believe we're already on week 3. It's been flying by, hasn't it?
Halfway through, Chef. This is awesome.
I know, right? How are you doing, Chef Eric?
I'm hanging in there, staying awake, drinking my suntan lotion from Red Bull. That's absolutely disgusting. I don't recommend it. It's called Beach Breeze, so don't try it, guys. Leave it in the store. Don't touch it.
Beach Breeze, huh? That's interesting. Yeah. I just like my coffee. I'll go with my coffee.
Well, I already had 4 cups of that earlier this morning.
Oh, that's far more than me. So
no wonder you have a headache.
Yeah, Andrea, it could be. That's why it's important to drink water, right? Make sure to hydrate. Michelle. There you go.
You may want to watch out on those Red Bulls because they are wicked bad for your health.
I only have one every blue moon. Like, it's not that frequent I drink these things because I don't like them and I rarely ever drink the entire thing. They're disgusting.
I'd stick to old-fashioned coffee. I mean, my coffee pot's on 24/7 practically.
Well,
I drink so much coffee. I gotta get a new coffee pot about every 4 months because it burns it out.
Dang. Well, this week or last week, you guys did your assignment, which was the discussion. The discussions were great. You did your peer responses. So remember, like with other discussions, I will not grade them. They will all be graded by Friday, so tomorrow. So tonight I will be grading all of the discussions for you guys. And this week's assignment is going to be a quiz. Let me pull up my thingy. Haha. So this week you will have a quiz. It will be due on Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, as per usual for you guys. But you guys have been doing so awesome at getting your work in early. I mean, I have been impressed. Like, you guys are really on top of it. I really have been impressed with how you guys have been doing. So get in there, do the quiz early, because, I mean, keep the momentum going, because you guys are been fabulous about it. Am I right, Chef?
Oh, yeah, knocking it out. I think, 99% of the class knocked out this week's discussion forum. Last week, about 98% of the class knocked out the quiz. This one's super easy. It's only 5 questions, right? So go ahead, get her done.
Exactly. So yeah, just go in there, get your assignment done. Let me pull up. Right here. Remember, we are on week 3. So the research materials, obviously the live session archive, and the slides will, as usual, be right underneath here for you guys. And then your quiz is just right here. So go ahead, attempt it now, get it done, get it out of the way so you can enjoy your weekend, right? So this week, do you guys remember what we said last week? What we were gonna do? You guys remember?
There was a game or something excited about class to be on time.
Yes. Bonus points to Andrea. There is going to be a game. And I'm going to let Chef Eric take it away.
All right. So, guys, this is actually going to be kind of fun. All right. So remember in your lessons, how many of you have already done your research for this week? Looked over, reviewed some of that stuff? Michelle, Courtney, Rachel? Awesome. Anyone? You can even do that whole raise the hand jive we used to do back in orientation, where you raise your hand as to where, because it's online, you can just go ahead and raise that virtual reality hand if you like. I'm glad to see that you guys are going ahead and getting that stuff taken care of, as to where this is a nifty little game that Chef Janet proposed to me to go ahead and try and create a different version for my classes as well that I'm in. So think about it as a now you see it, now you don't game. You guys remember that kind of like memory game, but this is going to be kind of like a little twist on it, all right? So for your guys' research, there's a lesson plan in there that talks about where your eye goes when you look at a menu, right? You know, as to where they did a couple different analysis out there pertaining to, you know, top left, top right, center, bottom right, what have you. Well, this go round, I'm going to have you guys check out this one. So is everybody prepared? Yeah, Chef. I'm going to pull that one from Chef Rachel. And go ahead and think of it as to where, let's see, I think it's, nope, not that one. Where is this one? Let's see if I got this right. Let's put this down. Let's drop that away and pull up this menu. All right, so looking at this menu, I want you guys to think real quick, where did your eye go when you first looked at it? All right, so give you 10 seconds, kind of like think about the process that it took. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then Chef Rachel is going to post this, so you guys all see that poll, right? Go ahead and vote. Where did your eye go on that menu first? Thank you, Benjamin, for the logo. Where was that logo? We got 2 votes on top right. Three votes on top right. Michelle's got salads top right. Ooh, we got a middle vote. Nice. All right, there's 16 of you guys in here, so I'm expecting to see more replies to this. Come on, guys.
I had to put on some glasses even in order to read it.
Oh, that's the thing is I'm not looking for you to actually read it, Deborah. I'm looking for you to just tell me where, when you look at a menu, first and foremost, you're muted, hon.
Oh, when I look.
Oh, now you just done.
Oh.
Oh, stop. Stop.
I
Okay.
always look at, when I look at a menu, I always look at the top of the logo. And that tells me a lot about what's on the menu.
Very true. So that'd be just like just a straight top, right at the top?
No. After I look at the top, I just look over the whole menu. You know, so.
Well, that's where it's going to be kind of the point, though, is like how you want to design your menu of the future of your establishment is going to be also thinking about where your eye goes personally, right? So think about that as to where, as you see, the majority of us here, 6 so far out of the 7 votes, 8, 9, I guess, 8 towards the top right, 1 to the middle, looking pretty good. I think we could probably end the poll, Chef. What do you think?
While you had that up, I was looking for me some glasses.
Well, that's okay, but thank you, Chef Eric. We'll keep it going and see if the other people decide a little bit if they want to keep it going.
I'll keep it going.
But this is where knowing, let me pull up my slide. And because as Chef Eric said, there has been tons of research done in this area to try to get customers to eat more. Knowing the type of concept you have will help with knowing what types of tricks to use. So, you know, are you going to be a high-end establishment? If you are, you're more likely to just use a whole dollar versus if you are going to be a place where you want to show that there's value, you may want to just put that $1.99, $15.99, like have that 99 cents in there. Are you going to use pictures? Are you not going to use pictures? Because with that example that Chef Eric gave, there was a photo, right? where was that photo? The little oyster.
Top right.
It was the top right, right? And for me, I instantly went to that one because in this whole science behind it, I mean, people will be able to figure out their scan pattern based on, for that menu, based on like, and know where to place things on their menu to make certain they're following that same scan pattern. And it is typical that a customer will just take 109 seconds to look at a menu. Because I don't know about you, and I am certain Chef Eric has this delightful problem such as I do, which is I have a child. I have a little 5-year-old who I am looking and I'm like, okay, where's the children's section? Cool. I figured out what my kid is having. I'm done. And then he's off playing and doing something. And then I like, okay, yeah, cool. Is he okay? And then I look down at my menu and then I quickly scan, looking up to see if he's okay, quickly scanning, you know. And you're typically, if you're eating, there's gonna be people there. And so you're gonna be talking to them, looking, talking, looking. So it is very reasonable to get those people to just be looking for that short amount of time. And you want to capture their attention in that amount of time. And you don't want it to be where your menu is overdone, where there's too much wording versus not enough wording, versus having way too many photos on there, not using the right type of thing to get your menu to stand out. So for example, you guys remember last week when Chef Eric pulled up that menu and they had that idea of, oh, we're going to do this to get it to stand out, but then they just used a terrible font and nobody could read it. So you have those ideas, but then it just didn't have that full follow through. And here I gave you guys 2 different links about the psychology of menus. I really like them because they break it down very nicely for you guys. And once again, it will be on your main page. And it shows you the differences between using the type of color you're going to use versus the type of font, because you aren't going to use the same font for your entire menu, right? When you look at a menu, what do you typically see for when you're thinking of font? And when I say font, I mean that Times New Roman versus the, you know, Arial font. That stuff that you find in all the Word documents that you guys have been doing on Google Slides and Google Docs. The Calibri. Calibri is a big one, right? The big one.
On
So,
my phone, I use cuckoo or rosemary.
the which one?
The cuckoo or rosemary.
Cuckoo or rosemary, right? Well, did you guys ever notice that for a menu, they typically have different fonts? You have your primary fonts. Your primary font, that's your header, right? Then you typically have a secondary font, and that one's the body, like what you're actually writing. So if I scroll down, doop, and this one, right here. You guys see this one? You see how this one is a different font than this one right here? So this one is going to be that primary font, and this one is going to be the secondary. But it's also slightly different than their actual logo, right? Because you want it on your menu where you have your logo, and you want it to all fit, but you don't want it to be the same exact thing, because your logo still needs to stand out. That menu that Chef Eric showed, that logo stood out. And the same thing here. You have your primary, and then you have those like the secondaries, right? And this is that logo, and that logo stands out from the rest of the actual menu. Michelle, what is your question?
Could you just have like a regular menu and, no on there instead of like a kids and elderly, just say, it's the same menu, just different portions at different prices?
So for a kids versus a adult menu?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the same thing because a kid will eat the same thing as an adult does. They do it at home, so why not?
I mean, my kids eat all the same foods I eat.
Now, mind you,
They
guys,
don't even order on a kid menu anymore.
yeah, but remember, is that there's a lot of us that are chef-minded, right? Hence where you have the passion for food and things like that, as to where there's other people that are out there that go out to eat specifically for the factor that they don't have time to cook at home, or they don't have the knowledge. All of us here on this screen have the knowledge of how to cook food, how to make food, and are going through school in order to become better chefs, right? As to where 90% of the world out there doesn't have the faintest idea, and they do it out of, comfort. Like they go out to eat because they enjoy going out to eat, and they don't have the knowledge that you guys are obtaining, right? And that's the people that we want to try and, provide food for, right? Hence where then those kids menus are going to be very, very simplified, because majority of kids out there don't have chef parents, right? And so they don't have the palettes. They don't have those options to have all the different types of food, as to where, I mean, my kid, she eats everything. One day, but then the next day she's like, oh, I don't want this, I hate this, right? So they try and simplify those kids menus a lot more.
Yes, and you can still have the same stuff, but it's just a smaller, as Chef Eric said, simplified. So I'm going to give you an example. There's an Afghani restaurant that we go to out here, and they're not going to have that typical, like their children's menu. It's not going to be mac and cheese, pizza, like cheeseburger. It's going to be, your kid can have a chicken kebab, it can have chicken korma, it can do the potato bellini, and they have those options. So it's still the stuff that's on that actual regular menu, but they just did the ones that these will be the smaller portions. These ones are going to be the ones that are not spicy, so parents don't have to think, is this going to burn my kid's mouth? And, if it burns going in, it's going to burn going out. And I would not want to be a parent of a kid who accidentally ate some spicy food. So, so those are considerations that you have to think about when you are looking at doing children's menu versus adult menu. Children's menu will also come in a different form, right? Because what are the typical children's menus looking like?
Kids mac, chicken strips, fish.
Well, I mean the actual menu itself.
Oh, ours we actually have a really cool one. We give them 3 crayons and stuff, and then it's got stuff that they can color and do puzzles and whatnot on there.
Yeah, and you can do it where, yeah, it's like just a piece of paper, and it will have, whatever type of like fun crayon drawing that they can do, or crossword puzzle, but it also will have their version of a menu on it. And it doesn't just have to be chicken fingers, pizza, because if your concept is, a Cuban restaurant, I'm not going to expect to see chicken nuggets and pizza on a Cuban restaurant's menu. For a kid, I'm going to expect to see like a Cuban sandwich for them, or doing a type of plate, and they get the sweet plantains and that kind of thing. So you don't always have to go with that, oh, they're going to get chicken nuggets, pizza, and mac and cheese because, oh, I mean, that's just a bunch of carbs, right? So think about what your concept's actually going to look like and whether or not having a children's menu is really going to fit. Because in a high-end dining establishment, you're like 5-star, Michelin star rated, you're not going to see a kids menu, right? Right? Right, chef, that's not going to happen. Yes, because that's not who the target market is, right? That is not their target market at all. Not at a high-end establishment. They're expecting to have people who are coming in to celebrate things, that are going to want to have a nice evening. Those are like high ends. They're going to be the parents that don't have kids and they're celebrating a night away because grandma and grandpa can actually babysit, that kind of thing.
The kids that come to my concept restaurant that I showed you guys. Remember when I talked about that last week as well? I'm trying to bring it into more of, the office or the celebratory, anniversaries, those types of things, that nice, elegant dinner away from the little kids, pulling on your hair and climbing over you, flirting with the table next to you, whatever, what have you, doing all those little kid things that they do. Right? Or even trying to smack the people's heads behind you. I mean, my little girl, tenacious little one.
Well, and this is where knowing your concept's important because then you can really figure out the style. Like we talked about, where doing the scan pattern, right? Where your eye instantly went. All of you guys said your eye went to the top. Where on the top of the menu did it go? Did it go to the top right? Did it go to the top left?
Mine went top right, straight to the logo.
Top right, straight to the logo? Everybody else? Yeah? Well, that's typical. That's typical of what happens. You will actually start the top right, and then it kind of goes in like a V, right? You kind of do, or like a triangle, I should say, where you go, then you kind of go down, and then you go back up, and then kind of look. And that's typical. So that's where knowing where that scan pattern is going is going to tell you where to put the priciest items on the menu. Where should you put those blocks and not make it not the block that we showed you last week because that one was not good, but the blocks such as, something like that. Or this one right here, they have this style. This one also, you kind of go where it has those clean lines and it has the different panels. So you can have different types of panels for your menu. Which one is it going to actually help? The typical one is that 2-panel, right? Where you just have, ta-da, this is one side, this is the other side, right? And also I wanted to give you guys this link because I like the fact that you could actually click, and if you liked a template that they had, you could pick a template and see if you like it. And you have this kind, which is the mud house. It's that coffee shop style. I mean, you can get really creative with your menus. It's also really important to look at where the actual wording here, because you don't want it to be so much that it's like it's too much for your customer to handle, but you also don't want to have so few words that your wait staff is going to have to be standing there explaining the entire menu to each of their tables, because it's just going to frustrate the customer and it's going to frustrate the customer, and it's going to frustrate your staff, because they don't want to waste time having to explain every single thing on the menu because the menu wasn't worded correctly. So double check, see what you like. You see how they have like the little picture of a cow right there? You can do pictures. the meat, right? And obviously, if it says meat, you know it's gonna be all about the meat, right? Yep. Like, and because there's a picture of a pig, I automatically assume it's gonna be a bunch of pork, and it is. It's a bunch of pork products right there. And then you notice that each one, they use a different type of actual font, right? If you're going to be a high-end place, are you going to do, what type of font are you going to pick? Are you going to do one that's like more cursive because that shows more of a high end? Or are you going to do one like this that's kind of that in between? Gotta love that photo. Or are you going to do one that kind of has those cleaner lines? And you notice how they have the photos, but the photos don't, they're not so much that it's overwhelming for people to look at. This one's one of my favorites. Does that help? And don't forget, you have color. Color does a lot of different things, right? So for example, when you see green on a menu, what do you guys think of when you see green?
Vegetable.
Go for it.
Go for it. Farm to table. What else?
What was that, Mark?
Yeah, what did you say, Marco?
I'm sorry, vegetables
Vegetables, right?
or a salad?
Yeah, because green, people think, oh, healthy. Is
Mhm.
that going to be your vegan options are in green, or is that going to highlight your farm to table, like that healthier side? So knowing the type of font that you want to use is really important because you don't just have to do black. You can do other font colors, but it's just using them correctly. The one that we showed you last week, they did not use it correctly. It was terrible. It didn't highlight anything. Nothing at all. So, but you can have fun and do, here's one. Ta-da. Fun fonts and, and colors, and let it just really kind of, pop. It's not so much that it's overbearing, but it's just enough to grab your attention, right? So out of the ones that I've been showing you guys, which ones do you like the best?
Size of the menu matter.
Wait, say that again?
Just the size of the menu, is that a big factor in designing?
Yeah. Well, because you go to places. Yeah, well, you go to places where their menu is so big that people can't actually hold it in their hands properly at the table, right?
Right.
That's going to be a big problem.
Or there's too many pages, like the Cheesecake Factory.
But that's what I was going to get at. There's some diners that are successful, but they have a large menu.
Well, and this is where knowing what you want to do is really important. Are you going to be a place that's going to do that seasonal style menu? If you are, you're not going to have 30 different items on your menu. You're going to have a select few like that, 10 items kind of thing, versus right. If you're going to do the California style where you're at Denny's and you have college kids who want to eat pancakes at nighttime, you're going to have all of those options because you're going to show your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. Mm-hmm. So, and then if you're a food truck, you can only hold so much food in that food truck. So how many items are you actually going to be able to handle in the size that you have?
Right.
And then Chef Sydney's in the house. He just popped in. For those who don't remember, Chef Sydney is your awesome tutor who has gone through this process and would love to help you if you need help. So do remember, Chef Sydney is always here. You want to do a shout out? Chef?
Okay, cool.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm sorry I'm late. I was stuck in another class there. But yeah, I'm here to help out in any way that I can. I do have my information up on the school page. There's a link to my calendar as well as my email and phone number. If there's any particular assignment or class, not just necessarily this one, but what class that's giving you any issues, I'm here to help with a little one-on-one time and help you get you through it, not only to succeed, but to excel in whatever class it is. So I recently went through this course, so I completely understand the struggles of juggling school, work, family, everything else. So I'm just one more resource to reach out to, so don't be shy.
Awesome. Thank you, Chef. And I also wanted to show you guys this one right here too, because I like this one because of their pictures. The pictures are not overbearing. They have they have just enough photos where it's not going to hurt your head. And you're not trying to figure out like, oh, well, which one's that one and which one's this one and which one's that one. It's just enough photos. So it's like it appeals to your eye, but it's not too much.
They keep it nicely categorized too, Chef.
Yeah, don't they?
One fold is salads, another fold is entrees, and then that last fold is going to be your roll-ups, desserts, and drinks and sides. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. This is why I really like this this link. And remember, it is in your guys' week 3 slides. It's these 2 ones right here. So you guys will have those. It will be on the main page for you. But then my favorite part that we get to go over is that flow of foods. Good old Serve Safe, right? How many people love Serve Safe? Yay! Love it. So once you actually, have your menu and you figured out what design you're gonna do, you looked at the super cool ones that I gave you here. Now you gotta figure out how you're actually gonna manage it, how you're actually going to look at the different factors, such as you're in a food truck, how much storage do you have? How much labor will it need to actually get your menu out? Are you doing everything fresh from scratch, or are you just making it's pre-made, you just slap it on the grill to reheat it? What type of thing are you going to do? And I thought I saw somebody with their hand up. But, oh, was that for the Serve Safe? Not for a question. I'm guessing it was for Serve Safe. Yeah. So then for those, here, remember, it starts from purchasing and it goes all the way down to service. Isn't this cute? I made this myself. I made it. Everybody? It looks awesome, Chef. Oh, cool. Thank you so much.
I think Sharon might have had her hand up. Sharon, did you have a question? No? Yes?
No?
She said yes in the chat. I don't know if...
No, it was just for the Serve Safe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. But then Serve Safe is important, right? Because it goes over how to handle food properly so that nobody gets sick. Because there's all sorts of things, right? There's that delightful cross-contamination. And do you guys remember what those different types of contamination are? The 3 different types?
Physical, chemical.
Physical, chemical. What's the 3rd one?
Forgot.
You guys remember?
That's right.
It's the biological.
Biological.
Yeah.
Sweat in there or something.
Yeah, it's that physical, chemical, biological. So your physical, what's a good example of physical?
Your ring falls in it.
Yeah, your ring falls in it, Band-Aid, fingernail, all that stuff. What about chemical?
The greaser falls in it.
Your greaser falls in. Yeah.
Style used in a reaction involving changes in atoms or molecules.
Apparently, Alexa thought I was talking to her.
I was wondering what that was.
So sorry about that. But yeah, Michelle, you're correct. Sanitation spray, right? The chemicals that you use to clean your kitchen. And then what's a good one of biological?
You cut yourself and the blood goes in it. Sweat.
That one would still be under like physical. The biological, remember the big six? You guys remember what big six is?
When you get sick.
Your big six is that, E. coli, salmonella, typhi, non-typhoidal salmonella, listeria, not listeria, that's not on the big list, but that is one. Shigella, and then you got hep, and then your and then your norovirus. Those are your big six. Those, how are you going to prevent those from getting into your food? That is a big part of, Whoop. And it's important to know how much you can actually buy and hold in your establishment. Because for me, the B&B, it did not have enough storage space. I did not have a delightful walk-in. I had reach-ins. So I could not order enough to get a delivery from Shamrock or Cisco or those places. But I'm very lucky because we had a warehouse in town. So I could go into the Shamrock warehouse and pick up the items that I needed and just bring them back to the B&B. Because the amount that you can actually store will help you determine how much can you actually buy. Do you have enough space where you can buy an entire pallet, or are you just doing that base product? Chef, at your establishments, how much room did you guys have for stuff?
Me?
Yes.
Shoot, we had walk-ins upon walk-ins upon walk-ins. I had my last job, well, I should say 2 jobs ago when I was banquet chef for the School of Mines. That place was huge. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 walk-in coolers, the size probably like 12 by 12, 2 freezers, about the same size as those walk-in coolers, but I loved it because you walk in through the cooler, then walk into the freezer and scream your lungs out when you're all upset, but that's a whole nother story. And then we had probably like a good lobby size pantry with like 12 rolling racks that were on these like speed rails, so that way you could just kind of push them down the line, move them out of the way. It was awesome. As far as the one before I had this job, was pretty much like your B&B chef, pretty much reaching after reaching after reaching, but we were big enough, just big enough that we could get orders from Cisco and Shamrock whenever we needed them. But it was a tricky job to try and get all that stored cold food stored properly. You cannot fit more than 2 chefs in a walk-in cooler at a time. It was hard.
Yeah, and you actually brought up my next point, which is perfect, Chef, which is receiving that food. How is it going to be handled? What temperatures does it come at? Because remember, you want things to be at that, 41 degrees or colder for your TCS food. TCS, remember, is that time temperature control for safety. And then you also have your hot. So maybe you're getting something hot. So you want it to be above that 135. Now everybody always says, yep, 41 for all cold items. It's always 41 and under. That's not always necessarily the case. That is especially true for when you're doing milk and your shelled eggs and shellfish, because those suckers are coming in alive. So as long they can come in at that higher temperature at 45, but it has to be brought down to 41 within 4 hours. So knowing this, can also help you decide when are you actually going to get your delivery? Because some food service operations, I don't know about you, but if I am up at 4 a.m., I can definitely see that, you know, a Cisco truck is on the move and they are dropping off deliveries. And do you think that somebody's going to be there at 4 a.m. or to look everything over, or did they just receive it after hours when no one's there, which is called that key drop delivery, where they just drop it off and then they go on their way. The first person in, they go through and sort all of the shipments. Remember, at this part, when you are receiving, it is okay to reject your food. If something's missing a label, if it looks like it's got, you know, oil on it and it's not supposed to have oil on it because it's a bag of flour, if anything's broken, if it's discolored, if it's swollen, you can reject. If it's swollen, say I had a can of tomatoes and it's swollen, what does that usually mean? You guys,
botulism growing.
yes, botulism. Exactly. So reject that. You do not have to keep that. But this is where it's also important. If you do decide to reject it, you actually have to remember to tell your sales rep and take it off of the invoice so they don't automatically keep it on there. So that's where it's important to keep that communication going and just say, hey, I rejected this because it just didn't look right. Please take it off my invoice and double check your invoice. And it is also important to label everything. You guys are going to be labelers, right? Right? Storage label, use by date, how long it's going to be there for, good old first in, first out, your FIFO, right? Do you guys say FIFO or FIFO? I say FIFO. FIFO, cool. And I mean, there are many times when a prep cook will be prepping something for you and then put it in the reach-in. And then you come in at a later shift and you pull it out. Well, do you know what he actually prepped? Do you know the ingredients that actually went into it or when he made it? If you don't label, you're never going to know. This is especially important when you do caterings, because oftentimes when you are doing a catering, you are in the kitchen making all the food, and then it's the catering team that is going to be taking it to the event. So you want to make sure that they have taken absolutely everything. And when I say that, I want you to imagine good old Colorado. I have done plenty of weddings up in the mountains in Estes Park where they want to be secluded and it's like 2 hours to get to the location. And if you forget something because it wasn't labeled, then there is no going back. Like by the time you get back, the event's over. So I always recommend, especially for catering, when you have your use by date, when it was made, what's in it, your ingredients, if they have to reheat it, how they reheat it. I also put on there, if I made 3 hotel pans, I will put 1 of 3 on one of them. Then I'll put 2 of 3. Then I'll put 3 of 3. So that way the staff knows that there are supposed to be 3 of those hotel pans going out to that catering event. So please remember, label like your life depends on it, because that will save you, and it'll save your staff a lot of questions, because they'll be like, what is this? When was this made? What does it look like? Should we taste it? Do you think it's bad? Like, you can just eliminate all of those questions if you label. So if you haven't noticed, I'm passionate about labeling. You're also going to have to label if there is a product recall. You guys know the latest one? It's like listeria and something. Listeria in the deli meats. There is listeria in the deli meats. And you're going to have to label. Do not use, do not discard. If there's a food recall, you do not want to get rid of that food. You don't want to just throw it out, because it has to be tested. They need to know if it actually hit your product. So it's really important to not just throw it out, just keep it in a spot away from other things and just put that do not use, do not discard. And I
Who do
gave
you give it to, Chef?
what?
Who do you give it to? The provider?
You usually it's the CDC will actually come
Oh, okay.
and like test it, or the health department, whoever will come. We have a branch of the CDC and around us, so they can just quickly pick it up and take it over, or the health department. But I also gave you guys this delightful CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention website, so you guys can look for yourself if there's any new prevention, like outbreaks or anything. So you guys can always stay informed. Then, it's important to know whether or not, if you need a variance. Did you buy a sous vide? Are you going to be cold smoking your salmon so it's not going to be coming to the temperature that it needs to come to? It's going to be cold smoked for a series of days. If so, this is where having this HACCP plan is going to be important, because the health department wants to know that you have all of the points in place, because that food is not coming up to temperature as it typically would. So, do you have all those safety points in place? Do you guys, well, I have it right here, but it's HACCP plan, stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points. And you need it for if you're doing sprouting seeds or beans, or if you're going to be smoking things or curing things. This is something that you need to think about. I know restaurants that purposely did not wanted to do a sous vide machine, decided not to do it because they did not want to write the actual HACCP plan and variance for it. So that is something to think about when you're actually looking at doing your concept. Do you want to do something like that? And then you guys know this one, right? Your danger zone. Anybody? You said danger zone from an Archer. You guys remember that? Good old Archer.
40 to 135 for 4 hours.
Yep. And then you have your pathogens growing rapidly in this area. And I gave you guys the whole list of temperature charts and how long to hold it for. So this is here for you guys, but you guys know this, right? You know chicken has to be cooked at what temperature?
165.
Yep, 165 for 15 seconds. You have your roasts. They can be at 145 for 4 minutes. So they have to hold that 145 temperature for 4 minutes. This fun and exciting stuff for you there. Another thing you can look at is the good old consumer advisory. This is a requirement for the health department, and you can put it on the menu. You can have it somewhere like written on in your establishment, or you can have the wait staff say it. But which ones do you think would be the easiest?
If you write it in your menu?
Writing it on your menu, right? Because do you really want to have to make your wait staff have to sit there and say, this item is served raw or undercooked, or contains or may contain raw or undercooked ingredients? Like, they don't want to be saying that type of stuff nonstop. So
I actually got a B my first year here because of that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's important. So that's where
yeah. So I had the whole year I had a B, but I got an A this year.
Nice. Good. Well, and this is where you see that little asterisk that kind of tells you look below, and then you can just have it on the bottom of your menu and just show it right here for you guys. And then I also gave you guys some more fun awesomeness where if you guys wanted to go, this one's the Colorado one, but they have one for each state. So this one was Colorado. and each state has their own what they want you to put onto the menu. Like, and you can even, you know, just go through and just copy and paste which ones that they have to do. So each state may vary, so it's important to look at your health department and find out which one they actually have and want you to have. So because for Colorado, it has to have this, and then it can either have this one or this one. You don't have to do both. So which one are you going to do? And then service. Do you guys think that this is serve safe right here? It's on our head. Anybody? Check it. Deborah, I know you like it. Deborah, I see it. So, no, that's not serve safe at all. And it's important to wear gloves, right? I will, especially when you're dealing with that ready-to-eat food, you want to wear gloves. I will tell you, for my own wedding, I made my wedding cake and 2 apple pies. I wasn't allowed to make the whole meal because my husband didn't want to get married to a blow-up doll with a walkie-talkie attached to it, apparently. So I just did my desserts. But I, being who I am, I need to cut my own cake. I'm not just doing the one slice. I am cutting the entire cake. And I will tell you, and the pies, I was wearing gloves. I was in my white dress with the blue gloves on, serving people my cake. So if I'm that dedicated to make certain that I use gloves for ready-to-eat food for my own wedding, you better believe that I am that way for my establishment. And it's just that whole knowing if you're going to have a salad bar, label everything so everybody knows what everything is. And if make sure that everything's at correct temperature. If it's at the hot holding, that 135. If it's cold, doing that 41 or lower for here. Now, if I told you, like if you ordered a turkey club and you guys had your choice between this one here or this one here, which one would you guys choose?
They both look good, Chef.
I would say the one on the left I would eat.
The one on the left?
Oh, no, I just seen that.
Oh.
Yeah.
This one here or this one here? Which one would you guys choose?
The one on the left looks good.
One on the left? Why would you choose the one on the left?
Because that's usually how I would make a turkey club rather than, a turkey club is normally cut.
It's cut, but what else is it? What makes it a club?
With the turkey and bacon and the lettuce and the tomatoes.
It's actually that third piece of bread.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what makes it a club. So you see right here how this has that third piece. Yeah, it's that third piece of bread. That is what makes it a club. So remember that, because it always drives me insane when you go to the sub shops and they're like, "Oh, it's a turkey club, but it's on a hoagie roll." I'm like, "It's not a club. Like, just that's not what it is." Because you need that. Yeah, you need that third piece of bread. That's what makes it
a club.
A club.
Wow.
It's like a Big Mac. That's what makes it a Mac. It is the third piece of bread and meat.
And the sauce.
Pieces of meat and the bread.
Yeah. And then, which one would you pay $1.99 for, and which one would you pay $15 for?
Neither one.
I would like to pay $1.99 for the left.
The one on the left.
So the one on the left, you would pay how much? $15 or $1.99?
I'll pay $15.
Not for a hamburger at all. But
15.
I would say the one on the left.
Yeah, and which one would you pay $1.99 for? Or the $1.99?
The one on the right.
Right? Yeah. And then would you pay $1.99? Or would you pay $15 for this one right here?
No.
No. So that's where your pricing has to match the type of food you're actually making. And you notice how this one, you know, you're going to get a value. You know, you're going to get something fast. It's going to be easy, and you're getting it for cheap.
You got fries on the side.
Yeah. And then this one right here, because you know it's a value, it has that $1.99. It's that 99 cents. Versus this one right here, you may see this in a place that is not going to be a fast food establishment. This is going to be a sit-down meal. You're going to actually want to eat this. So you want your menu to match what your food will actually look like, right?
That's nice.
Now, does anybody have any questions right now about anything? Oh, there's one thing I do want to bring up because it's not often brought up, and I really want to make certain that you guys think about this, because there are people who have disabilities, and very few places actually accommodate for that. So when I talk about it, I'm actually talking about Braille menus. So for people who are blind, to have that ability to actually read the menu using Braille. Not too many places actually do it, but it is a growing trend that people are going to offer Braille menus to people who are blind. Now, me personally, I would have never thought about that before. But could you imagine, like, having to rely on somebody else ordering your food all of the time for you? That can get exhausting instead of being able to just read it yourself and be able to pick out your own food. So remember that when you're thinking about your own establishments. Are you going to be one of those that will have those type of accommodations for your target market? Do you have a need for it in your area? Because I saw, it was, I want to say a few months ago, I think, there was an article where the girl said, she was an 18-year-old, and it was the very first time she was ever able to read a menu because it was in Braille. So could you imagine going to a place for, 18 years of your life, never being able to read a menu and just relying on what your family tells you? I don't know about you, but I don't know if I trust my sister or my brother. Not enough. Not with my dairy allergies. I want to read it myself and look. So, and Chef Eric, you brought up a great thing. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, I can. I just posted in the chat down here pertaining to this fall. We are holding a event here in actually rather close to you. Isn't that right, Chef?
Yes, I will be going to the event. Are you going to be going?
Yes, I will be going as well. I was just going to say, come hang out with Chef Rachel, myself. I don't know if you all have had Chef Sophia, Chef Genevieve, I think Chef Janet. Tyson.
Chef Jonathan's also going to be there?
Yeah, Chef Tyson is actually going to be the one butchering that there pig. So he's going to be the main event at this event, so to speak, which I know he's not really always generally fond of being the center of attention, but he's going to get to have that experience when we do this. So let me see if I can share my screen real quick and show you guys this. I did share that link with y'all, so definitely take a quick gander at that. You guys seeing this? Is this correct, Chef?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, making sure I have the right screen share on. I've got like 4 windows open. But it's gonna be pretty fun. We're gonna go and hang out at one of Chef Tyson's restaurants the first night, and then we're gonna go up and hang out with Chef Rachel up there in Foco and have some fun at Three Sisters Farm. Which is a pretty cool farm to go and chill at. And I think you were mentioning it to me the other day that you might actually know these guys.
Yeah, and I saw him, and it's Chef Steven, and I saw him, and I did not get a chance to ask him. So yeah, I do in fact need to look, because he is also a chef. He is a chef instructor for the Boulder campus, and I think it might be his farm. So I need to ask him.
Yeah, so check out this information. If you guys would like to go, you can also inquire more with Chef Rachel, myself. Any of the staff here knows plenty about this. So if you're curious and would like to know, check out that. And then also reach out to us if you have any further questions. As to where we got 4 students, I think Chef said, so far. We are outnumbering the students by far out here in Colorado going to this event, as to where a lot of us chefs that do reside out here and some that are also in other states are coming out here just for this event to have some fun. So I think it's going to be a great experience, guys. So if you can, I would love to meet you in person and, you know, have some fun with you and kind of, you know, eat some food together, watch Chef Tyson, you know, dissect or I should say butcher, not dissect a pig. Whoa, I got a major motorcycle.
Someone with you?
What's that, Deborah?
Can you bring someone with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably come.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. And also remember, told you there's going to be a quiz at the end, right? Your assignment will be due on Tuesday, but you guys have been so fabulous about getting your assignments in early.
Finish mine.
Yeah, keep the momentum going. You guys have been on top of it. I mean, like, what was it? Yeah, 99% did week 2s. 90, was it 98? 98? Yeah. Did week 1s early. Like, yeah, let's keep that momentum up. You got this. Get that quiz done early. Enjoy your weekend. It's gonna be hot, so get it done now, or at least it's gonna be hot around us. So.
You know what, Chef? I don't know anymore. I don't know to trust that weatherman. He's I'm done with watching the weatherman. I'm no.
Well, and I hope everybody has a fabulous week. If you have any questions, please reach out and let us know. And I hope you guys get your assignments done early. Remember, I will be grading everything. They will be done by tonight. If you have any questions, I am here. Chef Eric is here, and also Chef Sydney. So if you need anything, please let us know. And I hope everybody.
Can you get information for the form to the table and what day it is?
Yes, I can actually give you that link in the. I will send it out in an email for you guys. It will be in the email that says that the live session is up and running. Does that work?
Cool. 2-for-1 deal. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Hope everybody has a great, great night, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a good